top bezel. It really does make you wonder. LG has just left the smartphone market. How are these guys still in business? And the other phone we have is a Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. I was super excited about this one because I wanted to see if they could replicate the rear screen of the real phone. Oh no. Oh no. So instead of actually having a proper rear display, they've just put the numbers 2021 in there. It's actually such a shame because I genuinely think that compared to the real Mi 11 Ultra, I prefer that finish. And just generally, they have kind of nailed the likeness of the phone. Oh yeah, and this one has a headphone jack. The screen is about as poor as we expected, but hey, they have at least created Xiaomi's UI. I'm not actually sure what's in here though. Is that 100? In my head we were getting a full cube of these. That actually might be it. That said, these are actually not bad quality at all. And tell you what, this is a tech channel. Let's see if we can make a phone out of this. The magnets are too strong for their own good. Like, you can't make anything with a square side because it just becomes a bangle. It's Etsy time. I'm super curious about those huge boxes at the back, but also very excited about this one because I'm really hungry. I think we've got our chocolate phone here. I'm going to start with that. So this is meant to be gold chocolate. I've got no clue what that's going to taste or even look like. Oh. Okay. I mean, it literally looks like the PS5 from earlier. It's not a hugely appetizing color, I'm not going to lie. But you know, the one cool thing is they asked me to send a screenshot of my home screen, so I did, and that's what's actually on there. So I guess the question is, which app do I want to eat? It's also got my 58,634 unread emails. I think that's probably a good place to start. It's actually really good. And if you are enjoying this video, then a sub to the channel would be succulent. Can we make more of these videos? And can I just tell people I'm on a smartphone-only diet? These are the microscopic earphones. Very curious about this one because, I mean, so far, Wish has not let us down. Pretty much on every single product so far, they have delivered. But this can't be as small as they said it was going to be, right? There we go. Oh, for goodness sake. It's just a pair of earphones. Actually. Wait. It's just one earphone. What is it with this site? Expectations versus reality. No need to guess what this one is. The mouth stick stylus. I'm kind of nervous about this one. So it's got some sort of conductive coating on the end, presumably so that it can replicate the touch of your finger. You're meant to put it in your mouth and then lose it on your phone. Camera. Selfie.
Устраивает постоянная ложь депутатов и чиновников. Тогда сиди дома. А если хочешь правды и справедливости, 19 сентября голосуй за справедливую Россию за прав.
Okay. Let's see if we can make a call. Hello?
Hello?
I'm just calling you off my stylus.
What? Okay. Why do you sound like that?
I've got a stylus in my mouth.
I don't know what to do with that information.
Alright, bye. On a serious note though, for anyone who has to use one of these, mad respect. If this is what I think it is, we are in for a treat. What is that? I wonder if that's like excess from the bath bombs it made. I'm keeping this between us, but I actually don't hate the idea of the bath bomb. Whoa! Check that out! That's awesome! We've got another one. We've got another one. We've got another one. Another one. Another one. Oh, these are the iPhones. Check that out. Should probably rethink that smartphone-only diet. That is literally the perfect Etsy product. Not really sure what to expect here. Oh, it smells like a kid's sweet. PlayStation 1 controller, water. Let's go. Oh my god! That's some action. Look at it. But as expected, we have grey water. Who needs a bath around here? Between us, bath bombs are kind of fun. And that leaves us with, I believe, our cufflinks. Oh, I like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure all they've done is just taken a circuit board and chopped it in random places, but I'm such a sucker for it. I feel like there's only one way to show these in action. Okay, I feel like I spend more time in shirts and ties in these videos than I do t-shirts. Alright, time for the wider internet. I think we'll start cheaper and then go to the most expensive stuff. Now, ask me. Such an unusual shape. Definitely looks like something's wrong, but apparently these are meant to be better for your ergonomics than normal mice. The orbit trackball. That's next level. It's like a mini bowling ball. Very funky looking, I've got to say. So you get this stand that comes with it, and I think I'll just leave it like that. Alright, so this vertical mouse, I know it looks like something from an alien planet, and I've never used one in my entire life, and yet it feels like a natural extension of my hand. It just glides along the table, and I feel like I've been using this for my whole life. Also, I like the fact that just everything is soft. Soft matte finish, soft buttons, soft scroll wheel. Big fan. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. The mouse that I didn't know I needed. Alright, going a level above on the weirdness scale, we have the Orbit mouse. Now, this thing is incredibly sticky, it doesn't budge at all, but that's because it doesn't need to move. You control everything with this trackball, which is incredibly smooth, by the way, and this scroll wheel on the side of it. Now, I don't know if this is going to be faster to use than a normal mouse or a vertical mouse, but I love the fact that someone has really gone back to the drawing board and rethought how to make a mouse. That's cool. But I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10, because even though I love the concept of it, I feel like I've been spoiled by this vertical mouse. Like, that just feels way more comfortable to me than whatever I'm doing over here. And finally, the pen mouse. Now, because this is shaped like a pen, and because the optical scanner is there, it basically means you can use it anywhere. Like, I can control my cursor just by going on my laptop, I could use the table, I could use my lap if I wanted to, and I'm just surprised how responsive it all is. Oh yeah, and the other side of it, over here, that is a stylus for your phone. So really, that's a 9 out of 10. I was expecting that to be a fun but kind of useless gimmick, but I'm shocked how well it works. And now, a virtual drum kit. As I used to play the drums a lot as a kid, this might be the modern day equivalent. So you get this mat, which you lay out, get these ring thingies. So these things basically have sensors at the bottom, and these are color sensors. So what you can do is you can program a certain sound to play when you touch a certain color. For example, if I touch this green box here, it plays a green sound. And so with a pad like this, you can play what you want to play. All right, let's amp this up. Get ready for this.
Getting down at the disco.
All right, the Field Flux skill set. This is basically a tool that, who am I getting? It's a toy. We're actually getting a bit of warning here. Very strong magnet, exclamation mark. Oh, could you imagine getting your finger stuck in between there? So, through something called Lenz's law, apparently dropping a magnetic ball through an aluminium tube will apparently slow the ball down. The ball never touches the insides of the tube, but it creates a magnetic field which reduces its acceleration. Let me try this. Okay, you get the point. There we go, our second most valuable item in this video. It's basically a speaker filled with loads of speakers, all firing in different directions to try and simulate a live performance, apparently. It's like an A+ factory smell right there. It's weirdly soft for a speaker. It's almost like a piece of furniture. All right, £500, 7 omnidirectional speakers. Let's see what all the fuss is about. Honestly, I'm not blown away. Like, yes, you can get a good amount of bass out of it, it's a thick unit, and I do like the fact that I can walk around and from any angle it pretty much sounds the same, but for that kind of sound quality, would I pay £500 for that? Okay, well, yeah, I did pay £500 for that, but should you pay £500 for that? Probably not. Should you pay £500 and get 12 of these instead? Sure, why not? So excited about this one. I really need a massage.
Эх.
It's got a real, like, Apple vibe with the packaging. So the one I picked here is product red, just like Apple does.
Ладно. Да наоборот, это делаешь все, да, наоборот. Опять что ли что-то надо делать? Поставить, варить, да и все, да и скажи. Это что? Нет, все равно это надо как-то изготовить все это хозяйство, потому что что это... Грющий, кстати, да. Наоборот, потрясающе, конечно. Наоборот, значит, играет на инструментах, да. Да надо насыпать, да и поставить не нахер, закрыть все. Что ты мне мозги хочешь пожалуйста? Пусто. А, нет, наоборот, это там. No. Так. Чего это же нехорошо? Да. Шонку с огурцом, с огурцами ешь. Так, что там? Не, надо творить сейчас, я так столько там. А, ну да. Надо вспомнить. Нет. Цесаревич. Опа. Не надо, не надо. Кайсер. Да. Значит, выделяется телефон, да. Все поумнели сразу. Много понял, что нет, это как это нет? Ладно, я что-то наел уже все. Не все, всех себя. Эй, ай, какой щенок. Чешу. Это зачем так все? Зачем убирать все с них? Это есть на самом деле. Трудно. Вот и есть. Эй, шки, эй. Шкин. Ну что сделать в душе? Правильно, доброе, хорошее. Или вообще, всегда вообще. И профессионально нет, или просто хорошо. Или профессионально. А все равно одно и то же ведь. Наверное, нет? Смотри, если или ты профессионально делаешь, или ты хорошо. Нет, да ладно, мне не касается. Ну, значит, наоборот тогда, да. Ладно.
Go on. I'm dying for a massage. I mean, fair enough, because this was expensive, but I am impressed with the packaging. Very, very clean. It's been so long. I've got a couple of batteries here, so I'm just going to grab this thing and slip it right in. Oh. It's like getting punched 1,000 times a second. Maybe it's finally time for me to enter YouTube boxing. Just holding it is so therapeutic. Alright, let's see if I can punch through. I wonder if there's a higher setting. Probably isn't recommended use. 3, 2, 1, go. So many emotions. It's like having 100 people pummeling your back, but it's really good. Right, I should probably start cleaning my room now. Okay, at this point, you probably already know what a VPN is. If you either want to browse the internet anonymously, change the location of your device to another country, to avoid censorship or watch TV shows from that country, or even just to escape data throttling from your internet service provider, then a VPN is the way to go. But once you've decided that, then the question really is, which one? And at least from what I've seen, there is no other VPN that's offering close to what Surfshark is. Unlimited number of users and 24/7 support for this kind of price. If you do use the code BOSS, then you get an 81% discount and 3 months for free, which takes the price to $2.49 per month. We literally spend more on pay-per-clicks than that. Oh yeah, and it also has the option to remove ads and trackers while browsing. To find out if you're being watched by a hidden camera right now, I've got a video right here. Or, for the last massive unboxing in this series, that's going to be right here. My name is Aaron, this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll catch you in the next one. But as you know, the true test of a lightsaber is, can it... the Force.
А что у меня сегодня? Да. Так понятно, кто такой.
iPhone 13s are here. So this is everything you need to know in less than 17 minutes. What I liked, what I really didn't like, and then if I think these new iPhones will actually beat the competition. And I do have something that I want to call them out on. Okay, so on the face of it, the iPhone 13s look pretty similar to the iPhone 12s. There's 4 phones, a 13 mini, 13, 13 Pro, and 13 Pro Max. And each of them is almost exactly the same shape and size as their equivalents last year. This is just kind of how Apple rolls. Because unlike companies like Samsung and Huawei, who come up with a practically new design language every single year to differentiate themselves, Apple knows that the iPhone design is iconic. And so I think they almost try to make sure that they don't change it too much, which makes the most obvious visual difference between generations usually just the color. But this is actually the first thing. I'm actually pretty happy with what they've delivered this time. For the normal iPhone 13 and 13 mini, there's 5 total colors. The new pink is kind of whatever, but I really like the red this time round. It actually looks like red. And then for the Pros, every single year Apple has a few standard colors, which tend not to change. Because fun fact, black and white are actually the most popular colors over time. But they also always have a hero color, the one that they always use in all the promotional material, and the one that they make sure is different so that true fans can have that "I got the new iPhone" feeling. It was midnight green for the 11 Pro, Pacific blue for the 12 Pro, and we now have Sierra blue for the iPhone 13 Pro. It might just be my favorite color yet. It's almost Mr. Who's the Boss blue. The only slightly annoying thing is that they've kept the same ultra-high gloss side rails from last year, which will probably make the phone almost impossible to keep clean. Anyways, I'm also just glad that the notch is smaller. Ever since the iPhone X first came out, this notch hasn't budged. And as each new generation of Android phones have come out, its presence has become just that little bit more unwelcome. So no, they haven't got rid of it entirely this time, but it is about 20% smaller, thanks to the earpiece being pushed up to the top bezel. And I think that's just enough such that it keeps parity with its rivals. It means that we have just this little bit of extra usable screen on top, which, who knows, if Apple's feeling cheeky, might mean we get the battery percentage icon back. We still get a completely even bezel all the way around the rest of the screen, unlike most phones which do still have a little chin at the bottom, all while having no sacrifice to the quality of the selfie camera, which we have seen on phones that have tried to be a little bit more experimental, or to Face ID, which is the best facial recognition on a phone. Could Apple have made a more dramatic visual redesign? Probably. Would it have come at the cost of other things? Most likely. So, I'm pretty happy with this one. But also, before I watched this launch event, I was fully ready to complain about how Apple had kept the base storage option on the iPhone 13s at 64 gigs. Because honestly, in 2021, that's just not good enough. However, they've upgraded that too. All iPhone 13s start with 128 gigs of storage. And actually, the top version of the iPhone 13 Pro goes all the way up to 1 terabyte now, while starting at the same price as last year's phones. Actually, cheaper here in the UK. So, I'm not going to complain about that. But what about when you're using the phone? Well, I'm really, relieved, actually. The battery has been a priority. For the longest time, companies have been fighting with battery life. Essentially, the bigger it is, the better for consumers long term. But then, the less appealing the thing becomes in the moment because of its thickness of weight. And I think that this has plagued Apple even more so than with other companies, just because of how much emphasis they put on the in-hand feel. You can tell that iPhones have always tried to carefully tread that line, resulting in never giving too much battery, but sometimes falling on the side of just not giving enough. But this year, for maybe the first time ever, it looks like they're finally giving users some buffer room. Both the 13 mini and 13 Pro are getting an extra 1.5 hours of screen on time, and both the normal 13 and the 13 Pro Max are getting an extra 2.5 hours. I am going to do a full battery, maybe even a charging speed test too though, so if you do want to see those, then a sub to the channel would be vitalizing. But it's looking promising. Oh yeah, and I'm so glad that this year the screens are not just brighter, but we are getting a feature that has been sorely missing for a long time on iPhones, that the entire tech community has been banging on about for the last 3 years non-stop. Finally, Apple has added in 120Hz refresh rates. Instead of every other iPhone up until this point, whose screen is refreshed 60 times per second, the iPhone 13 Pro and iPhone 13 Pro Max will refresh at up to 120. If you know what you're looking for, then this is going to be the biggest jump in perceived speed that we've ever had on an iPhone. Now, let's be very clear about something. These are not the first phones to get 120Hz displays. Actually, they're pretty much the last. But that doesn't change how significant the upgrade is. As with quite a few things on this iPhone 13 lineup, I would see it less like Apple has just suddenly come in and added some next level feature, and a bit more like Apple has finally removed one of the major thorns on their side. These major caveats that I've had to constantly remind people were missing every time I mentioned the last 2 years of iPhones. Not anymore. You do only get 120Hz on the Pro phones, which is kind of unfortunate given that it's almost an assumed feature on all Android flagships, but I can kind of understand it. You've got to remember that for the entire year, while Samsung might release 50 smartphones, Apple is only making 4. And so, because these 4 phones have to serve such a huge, diverse mix of customers, it makes sense from a business perspective to have at least one option that doesn't use all the expensive tech that there is a big portion of users who just won't appreciate. There is another side to this argument, though. I'm getting there. But the point I'm making is, if we actually do get better battery life this year, whilst also being able to have these smooth, high refresh rate screens, then that is an enormous win. I'm also just generally excited to see what this new A15 chipset can do. If you watch the launch event, you'll have seen that this new chip has a 50% faster CPU and a 30% faster GPU. Those are crazy numbers.
What a spectacular set of announcements.
But if I'm being really honest, I think the way that Apple has pitched this is a little misleading. Like, if you look closer, you'll realize that what they're actually saying is not 50% faster than last year, like you'd kind of assume because of how they normally make comparisons to the previous gen, but up to 50% faster than other competitors. So they're effectively picking scenarios that suit their chips, ones in which their past A14 was already ahead of Android, and then running those same scenarios again. Oh, and would you look at that, the A15 is even more ahead.
Да наоборот, нет. Куда писать?